Okay, thanks a lot for that, Mangalam. And let us pose the same questions to Siddarth Bhamre of Angel Broking, who has just joined us. Siddarth, how would you trade the Nifty today?
Good morning, Lada. So since last week, which was a truncated week, we were seeing that FIs who were usually buyers of index futures and were buying puts to hedge those long futures started selling options, which resulted into drop in IVs from 16.5, 17 levels to 13.2 levels. And within one trading session, we are seeing that IVs are back to 17. So I see this as a positive sign, and how I am reading this, Lata, is that people have not participated in the rally. Post-budget, we all know that. And one sign of market, showing correction, there is panic, and that's the reason IVs have significantly gone up. So nobody is expecting, that there would be a significant bounce back again, big time. People are still scared, and that is clearly reflected in IVs. As far as FI statistics are concerned, I think we should not get too much perturbed by selling in stock futures. If you look at the cost of carries which are there in April series, after a lackluster month of Feb and March in terms of cost of carries for various reasons, cost of carry is substantially high in April series. That is the reason you are seeing stock futures sell figures, which were the buy figures in month of Feb and March. Because arbitrage is happening again, and that's the reason that cash is buying. So don't get excited because of this 2,000 crores of cash is buying. Don't get perturbed by this 1,700, 1,800 crores of stock. This arbitrage which is happening. The concern is why DIs are selling. Also from options data perspective, I think because momentum is dying down doesn't mean that there is going to be huge correction. If you exclude what happened yesterday, data is not indicating that you are going to see a huge correction in market from current levels. Liquidity is still quite buoyant. So I believe 75.50 is strong support for this market, because this range that level has been acting as resistance, and at the same time now it's very easy to say that 77.50 would act as resistance for this expiry. But the larger question is this trend changing? Answer to that as of now is no, and probably in first half of April series we'll see the resumption of uptrend. So I would suggest that if you are a positional trader and you're holding your long positions in 7,200 or probably sub those levels, you should hold on to your long positions, and traders who have missed out should buy at 7,550 spot levels I'm talking about.
Okay, let's come to a few of your trading ideas, Siddarth. The short call on L&T.
Yeah, so not all stocks have done well in this bounce back, and not everywhere, Rima, we have seen formation of long positions. So entire rally or 20% rally, I may say, in L&T from lower levels has been on back of short covering. There were some traces of longs, but we haven't seen any major formation of long positions. In this belt of 1210 to 1240, we have seen some formation of short positions taking place. If you look at my target price, I'm not expecting a huge correction. I'm expecting around 5-6% correction from current levels. Maybe counter can go to 1145. Fix a small stop loss of around 1240 and go short over here. Maybe if market corrects 50-60 points, L&T may correct more.
Okay, well, we're just getting the early signs of pre-market trends, but it's very, very confusing at this point in time with the Sensex and the Nifty showing divergent trends. So we can't quite read. Actually, things have been mixed across Asia as well. We haven't got a very clear handover from US either, but the rupee has opened up a tad stronger. 66.57 was where we closed yesterday, and remember that 66.57 came despite there being not much in terms of a stock market rally. So the rupee was rallying on its own strength, and it's continuing to rally. This is a typical behavior in March for the rupee, because there are a lot of dollar inflows at this time. This is usually a current account surplus quarter for the country, and therefore I'm not surprised that the rupee rallies even as other asset classes don't seem to be rallying. We cannot read much strength into the stock rally simply because the rupee is rallying. It does tend to behave very differently during the month of March. We'll have to wait to see where the stock market settles down at this point in time, not getting a very clear trend. So maybe we revisit, look at the divergence in the Sensex and the Nifty. So we just leave well alone and come back to it probably after things things settle down.
Okay, in the meanwhile, then let's get into a few more ideas. Prakash, yesterday Titan fell close to about 7%. The management commentary was cautious about the coming quarter, Q4, on account of issues like PAN card as well as the excise duty hike and therefore the strike. But the long-term story, according to the management, is fairly intact. So in that context, would you recommend a buy on Titan given the fall?
You know, it's getting to be more and more reasonably priced. If you see the stock, it no more has that haloed valuation that, you know, it used to kind of accord itself. And the reason is, one is the jewelry business itself is going through a little bit of a downward or softer re-rating. The competition is getting much more intense. But Titan stands to gain much out of this excise duty hike also, because they've been probably one of the cleanest and most transparent in terms of their operations, unlike a lot of other jewelers where, you know, it's not talked much about, but there's always a huge cash component in the business which doesn't reflect on the balance sheets. So Titan really is, you know, not afflicted by much of this. But going forward, the important thing for them is to get into the other business, start revving up the other businesses, which is actually languishing. Watches has been such a slowdown. It's really not contributing to the extent that they've invested into retail, you know, outlets and all. So the branding that they've done on watches, on eyewear, all of that is not kind of paying off in ROE terms. So that's one of the worrisome areas. But once that stabilizes, I think it could become a good stock. It's definitely much more better than what it used to be, let's say, a year back. It's exactly like what Bata has gone through.
So you won't buy it right now?
I would buy it, but I would be very positive on it. Watch it for a while, maybe another quarter. I just wanted to give you the similar example on Bata, where, you know, we saw Bata go through a huge tumult in terms of their SAP implementation and the costs going up, single store sales not picking up and all. But today, you know, with this whole story on rural consumption and all that, I mean, Bata is much better poised than any other premium brand to kind of, you know, benefit out of that. And they've premiumized themselves also dramatically. It's not that, you know, Bata is just Hawaii chappals, which is a very old association that people have. They have such high-end brands that, you know, people really don't talk much about, but, you know, they've gone more on the hush puppies, you know, segment rather than growing their own low-end brand. So these are companies that you would have to watch out for, and there's interesting enough build-ups in that. Titan, yes, you're right, it will start featuring on a lot of brokerages. This thing, you know, you'll see coverage expanding very soon.
Okay, well, I must get Sudarshan on both these stocks. Sudarshan, Titan and Bata, an old favorite Bata.
Oh, I have a problem. I'm long in Bata, just as a matter of chance. I don't usually buy stocks, but so my view on Bata is very upbeat, almost what Prakash was saying. It's a story you want to hold on to. I'm not upbeat on Titan. Maybe it'll recover, maybe it'll do better. When that happens, we'll buy it, but not now.
Okay. Siddarth, comment on the pair trade that you're recommending in the banking stocks, long Kotak Bank and short IndusInd.
Yeah, so the recent rally in IndusInd Bank, again, you know, was more on back of, you know, some sort of short covering, though there were not many shorts, but we haven't seen any formation of longs. You know, management selling those 32 lakh plus shares, citing, you know, expansion region in other company. Generally, we have seen, and when this kind of selling happens, those kind of stocks underperform. And stock does has good resistance in a range of 920 to 950, and I'm not expecting to go above that. Maybe some correction may happen. Kotak Bank, on the other hand, has seen initiation of fresh long positions in yesterday's trading session. Stock is showing strength. There is good cash-based volume if you look at the charts since last 2-3 trading session, which suggests that stock may continue its upward journey despite Bank Nifty slightly under pressure. So these various reasons are suggesting that, you know, from a shorter term perspective for April series, one can have this paired strategy where you can go long Kotak Bank and short IndusInd Bank.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for all those strategies, Siddarth, but do stay on. Let's do one thing. We'll get you some more trading strategies from our bullseye participants.
Pre-opening rates have settled absolutely flat. So 7606 in the Nifty, while the Sensex is down just close to about 8 odd points. Siddarth, let me come to your third recommendation, and that is a buy on Power Grid.
Anyway, this stock generally doesn't show you a big movement on either side, But what we have observed that in last 6-7 trading sessions, there has been huge formation of positions. And if you look at the price action and volumes, it suggests that it is long formation. I'm expecting the stock to move towards 140 odd levels. Fix a stop somewhere around 134, 150 odd levels. Sorry, 150, 151 odd levels. Fix the stop loss somewhere around 134 and go long in this counter.
Okay, let's just look at how the markets are shaping up at this point in time. There is definitely negativity, but not a whole lot. 7606 at this point in time, that's the pre-opening rate, and Sensex is as flat can bet. Bank Nifty not showing more weakness than the rest of the market, but just to run you through the stocks that are doing badly, it is the commodity stocks and ICICI Bank as well. Kane is down about 2%, Vedanta 1% down, ICICI Bank about 1% down, and then come Bharti Airtel, ACC, HDFC. So a lot of very venerable names are in the red list today, and actually ONGC performing diametrically opposite with a gain of 1%, Hindalco up 0.7. So there isn't really a trend. There are metals on both sides, oil explorers on both sides, cement on both sides, red and green. So market is not definitely showing us a pattern. Let's just wait for markets to settle down even further. But Sudarshan, is there a trade in ICICI Bank?
No, there's no trade in ICICI Bank. There could be a trade in Power Grid. I heard Siddarth talk about it, and it's a very attractive chart for me also. So if the stock opens, say with any minor strength, so far as it remains higher than yesterday's close, I would. That's a trade you can think about. That's a buy.
Okay. Well, Siddarth, is there a Bank Nifty trade for you?
Lata, the people would get quite tempted looking at the ways ICICIs and SBIs of the world are correcting, but we are not seeing formation of short positions over here. We all know that after short covering we have seen formation of long position in these stocks, and yesterday data also, if you see, it is unwinding of longs, which has resulted into fall in prices. As a matter of fact, even Bank Nifty has reduced open interest. So whenever there is a correction because of long unwinding, you don't short these counters. Longs, yes, if this correction continues and if I get Bank Nifty somewhere around say 15,000 odd levels, then I'll be quite tempted to go long over there around 15,000, 15,200. But maybe the components like ICICI Bank around 215 can be a good stock to go long also. So it all depends that in this expiry, if there is 2-3% correction, you should go long rather than thinking of shorting Bank Nifty.
What do you think could be the end of this contract, the Nifty levels?
I am not expecting markets to go below 7550 odd levels, and even if it goes, it would be more or less momentary and you might see a bounce back. At this point of time, we have seen that FIs are selling call options also, and their call options level of selling has come down to even levels of 7650. So expecting that there will be a huge rally towards 77 in this expiry is also very unlikely. Maybe we will remain in a tight range of 7550 on the lower side and 7650 on the higher side. IVs have increased, so rather than thinking about levels, I think short strangles can work out in next 2-3 trading sessions, at least in this expiry.
Okay.
Prakash, today we saw the news that Ashok Leyland has sold shares in IndusInd Bank. They've raised close to about 300 crore rupees. How would you rate this particular development? Is it too small, 300 crore, considering the size of the groups?
No, yeah, I mean, on an absolute basis, yes, 300 crore doesn't seem to be too significant, but you need to see it as a, step in, it's a work in progress kind of a step, very simply. Ashok Leyland did this balance sheet repair, and they've been doing it for the last 2-3 years, and that's what's brought this company back into the reckoning. Today, a stock that's at 14 rupees book value is available more than 7 times, its book value because it's done so well. Now, what do you pay a premium for? It's the future, and today, Ashok Leyland has announced a couple of days back that they are very close to getting into a strategic tie-up with an international player for the defense foray that they are making. Now, they've always been part of the Indian Army supplies. You know, the trucks that the Indian Army makes in its Jabalpur vehicle factory are actually done by Ashok Leyland. It's just that they're assembled for strategic reasons within the Army campus. So it's part of the ordnance, DRDO, this thing, order. But the point is, Ashok Leyland will now need to upgrade itself technologically to start supplying the higher end trucks. Even yesterday, Tata Motors got a huge order for 600 plus trucks from the Army, but these are basic trucks. They are not trucks that have too much of complex electronic and instrumentation capabilities. They are just load bearing in terms of strength. So Ashok Leyland is probably building a war chest to start being part of that defense thing, where they've got their expansion plans already paid for. I mean, the capacity is already built in for the regular business, but defense will need a very different kind of an outlay, especially in terms of development costs, and that's what I think they're setting aside. So it's selling IndusInd at this rate is also strategically good, because I think it's IndusInd is a good sell at these levels. Though it's a group company of theirs, they don't have that advantage of doing it from a market perspective, but I think it's a step in the right direction, and Ashok Leyland will see positive momentum out of this.
Okay, well, would you buy it at current levels?
Oh, yes,
do you have a price
absolutely.
target?
The price target that we have for Ashok Leyland by calendar end 16 is 128. So, and it's still got legs. And this was our post-budget pick. The day of the budget evening, we had recommended this at I think some 84 levels or something.
What is your price target, you said?
128.
Okay. Well, that's a fairly aggressive target. But the stock just even chartically just seems to go up and away. 30 seconds. You have a view before the market opens, Prakash?
Certainly, Ashok Leyland is looking good to me. Certainly, it can go to around 100. I earlier given a target of 110. I think it can go to 110 to 120. So new blue sky territory, no highs high. Why put a ceiling? And 100 basically it's a strong psychological support to work with. When a stock goes from 230 to 3 digit, it's a buy.
By the way, the stock is also up 20% since the budget day. So anyone who heard Prakash Diwan then would be already making a ton of money, and 126 is still some while to go. But about just 6 seconds left.
Yeah, exactly. So we won't come back. We won't get questions in between. The market is opening flat as flat can get. 7604. So 7600 is held now in the green. 7615. It flirted with that number. So absolutely in flat terrain. That's at least a bit of a consolation. The index started off a little bit in the red and has moved to a little bit in the green. All the other indices are absolutely flat at this juncture. That includes the Nifty as well, though it's just moved marginally into green terrain. Now the Sensex is also in green. 24971, 973, 975 as I speak. So Sensex as well showing some signs of green. What's taking it up there? Actually, it's such a motley group of stocks, but there are two metal stocks over there. Hindalco and Tata Steel are among the green stocks, 1% and 1.4%. Hindalco actually is leading the pack, 1.3% higher. Maruti Suzuki also up 1.1. Then comes BPCL. Sudarshan has been telling us that he's positive on the energy stocks. If BPCL is in that list, then it's up 1%. Among others, L&T is up 0.7. And actually, the banks have now come into the green. Bank Nifty is doing as well as the Nifty. And that includes the likes of Bank of Baroda, Axis Bank and Yes Bank. All three of them about 0.7, 0.6% higher. Bank of Baroda is the one that's doing the best, say 0.8, 0.9%. Among others, Tata Motors up 0.7, ITC up 0.7, Power Grid is in the green, 0.6, Hero Moto, SBI now up 0.6, Coal India, Coal India, HDFC Bank, GAIL, M&M, all of them are up about 0.2%. What's in the red? Actually, only HDFC. That's down 1.2%. It showed weakness late yesterday. Cain is down about 1%. ICICI Bank about 0.7 down. So ICICI Bank is the only bank that's not participating in the Bank Nifty rally, which can now get the word rally. It's up 0.25% now. It's the best performing index. Mid caps are flat, but otherwise Nifty and the Bank Nifty not doing badly as of now.
Very, very quiet, you'd have to say. So the mid-cap index is unchanged. The advanced decline ratio is just holding marginally in favor of the gaining side. To run you through some of the big winners, the small companies, so ARSS Infrastructure, which has won orders close to about 105, 106 crore, has started trade in the green. Plasti-Benz India has commenced production at one of its units. That's kept the stock up close to about 3%. IDBI Bank, where LIC has nearly doubled its stake to 14.5%, has started trade with a gain of close to about 2.5%. V2 Retail Limited, they've opened stores in 3 new places. Jubilant Foodworks, a tie-up with Wipro, which will help in reducing the company's energy and operational costs. So Jubilant Foodworks has gained close to about 1.5%, while IGL Limited, ahead of the management meet with UBS analysts, IGL2 is a stock which has gained close to about 1%. Ashok Leyland has raised close to about 300 crore rupees by selling about 35 lakh shares in Ashok Leyland, a group company. And Max Financial Services, DB has upgraded the stock to a buy. So Max is a stock which is up close to about 1%. On the losing side, Titan has slipped 1.5%. So even after losing nearly 7% yesterday, the pressure continues on Titan Industries. Most of the analysts like CLSA, etc., says that they would be 7 to 10% below consensus expectations. And anyway, the stock is trading at 29 times F517 PE. So that's the stock. CMI Limited, a stock which Varinder had highlighted, has straight away opened lower circuit with a cut of close to about 20%. So that is one stock.
That suspended list.
Yes.
Cupid and CMI. Among the 31 stocks that SEBI has suspended are these two unexpected elements in that list. So a little surprising, and the stock market has roundly punished both these stocks.
A few others, Just Dial, after a 40% run-up since the start of the month, Just Dial is coming for some amount of profit booking. And mixed picture for the banking space, IOB, Dena Bank in the red. But on the gaining side, you've got a City Union Bank, Allahabad Bank holding up in the green. But largely, very, very quiet. The Sensex and the Nifty are unchanged. Anuj, do you believe we're just going to be biding time, at least in the initial half of the trading session?
Yeah, you know, the start is not good actually, because the market breadth is looking a bit nervous. It started at 1:1, so that's not good news. And keep in mind, the Nifty's last closing rate was 76.30 yesterday, so technically you've given up half of the late recovery yesterday with the start at 76.15. You know, as I normally say, I'll watch out for the market till 10 a.m. For me, the start hasn't been good because, you know, stocks like HDFC and ICICI Bank are seeing follow-up selling. When you see large stocks seeing follow-up selling, that becomes a bit of a problem point for the market. So, you know, keep an eye on stocks like L&T, Maruti, the ones which were the weakest yesterday. It started with HDFC and ICICI Bank. If you see the same trend play out in some of these names as well, the likes of L&T and Maruti, then I think you could be asking for trouble. Yesterday's low is important. If the Nifty breaches that in today's trade by 10 a.m., then I think 75.50 becomes a distinct possibility, which was my reference point.
Okay. Well, now let's place this possibility to our experts. Sudarshan, slightly weak opening, or maybe it's you have to still call it flat. It's 7608 as I speak. You don't trade at all the Nifty now?
No, it's weak, and for the same reason that Anuj explained, because it's much lower than the actual close yesterday. But it's early morning, it's difficult to say where the markets will go. For me, the trade in the Nifty still comes on the long side. If the Nifty crosses 76.35, that was the yesterday afternoon high, that would again be a sign of strength, and that would be a buying opportunity. Otherwise, there is no other trade.
Okay.
So that's this
happening in a context where Asian markets are almost all of them in the red, except for a minor flat performance in Korea and Thailand. All the other indices are in the red. So perhaps the neighborhood impact is also hurting us.
Yeah, you know, the start, as I said, is not good because you would have wanted to start somewhere around 76.30. The fact that, you know, it opened at some 76.10 thereabouts, and the mid-cap advanced decline ratio has already moved into the decline side, that's a bit worrying for me. A lot of mid-caps had gone up quite a bit. Just Dial is an indication. Got to keep an eye on some of these names. It's an important zone for market to defend from now to yesterday's low.
Okay. Sudarshan, come in on Titan. The stock has lost nearly 8-9% in the last 2 days. How is the chart looking, and is there an opportunity to trade?
No, there's no opportunity to trade Titan. Certainly you don't want to buy this dip. Far from it. And I'm not sure whether I'm comfortable shorting it at this point. One is that FMCG stocks don't lend themselves to very good shorting. So it's a complete avoid.
Okay. Siddarth, what is your comment on the opening, the softness in the indices? Do you want to tweak your trade at all?
So trade would be, Lata, that you have to short strangle, and it is quite possible that we might have very lackluster moment for next 2-3 trading sessions without much of volatility. Rollovers are taking place smoothly, and higher the rollovers, better for the market, because most of the long positions in markets are of stronger hands. So if you see a number which is greater than 65% in this month, then I think you should be positive for April series.
Okay, well, Sudarshan, I wanted to ask you about both Sun Pharma and Lupin. Both charts look weak, but Lupin looks weaker.
Absolutely, and Lupin is a horrible chart. It's come in the sell list again and again and keeps on coming. Sun Pharma is now giving signs of a distribution. So there is a short sell here, a positional short in Sun Pharma. Pharma is going through a deep correction. It's not likely to come back very quickly.
Okay.
Some more jewelry companies.
Prakash, I thought Prakash, yes.
So on the pharma side, there's this whole radical shift that we've already seen, and the FIs, when they exited, actually got out of most of these large cap pharma. But when they're coming back, we're not seeing that buying in at least the large cap. So counters like Sun and all will probably see a huge breakdown towards the lower side. But what's interesting in that space is the smaller companies have started kind of fetching some interest. You have a Granules India, for example. Now the moment they announce that they're getting into OTC, and it's a significantly high margin business in the US, it deserves a re-rating of sorts. So you have a lot of these smaller companies, like there's this very small company which is specifically on the veterinary side in the pharma space, and that's Hester Biosciences. They've been talking about some very good numbers, growth which is phenomenal. So you'll have to rework the pharma list slightly. But yesterday's you had an interview with Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw on the Biocon thing. Yeah. I think that's a game changer for them. This was awaited for so long that the Malaysian facility, ever since been set up, was like waiting for some breakthrough in the developed markets for that biosimilar
for insulin.
And insulin is got so much of headroom in terms of growth. And the price differential between a biosimilar and the other insulin is so huge that you really can't have any competition till somebody comes. And this is the first non-MNC to have got into that space. Okay. So it's a huge development. I think Biocon will still see some traction in these coming days as people kind of start reworking the benefit. Of course, the US and UK market are the big game changers again, but it's a matter of time before that happens also.
Yeah, I mean, if you get permission in Japan, then that is a developed market, and so the chances for other developed markets definitely improve, is what Kiran Mazumdar
told us. I know, and you were trying to figure out what timeline you could accord to that, whether it was FY17, but it would be somewhere, my sense it would be middle of this year, because they would be starting this process in April, and given another 3 to 6 months what it would take. But as and when it happens, the stock will start getting re-rated before that happens, Lata. So all the negativity, the dullness in that stock will go out completely.
Well, in the last few days, sorry.
No, go ahead on Biocon.
In the last few days, it's gone up. It almost had a heady rally. Yeah. Sudarshan, the chart of Biocon?
Oh, it's an excellent buying opportunity. Yesterday was just the last half an hour simply told us what the charts were already saying. But this is not a short-term trade. You have to buy and hold it. Most trades in this market are trades for a longer period of time.
I was just making the point on Granules India, which Prakash was referring to. I was talking to one of the analysts, and they also, corroborated that this entry into the OTC market will be a game changer, and it will contribute meaningfully from FY19, but it could double the company's revenues by FY20. And I think Motilal Oswal had put a target price of 160 on Granules India. So there are these developments taking place in many of these small and mid-cap pharmaceutical companies, which could be game changers.
Something is not working for me in this market. I mean, Sensex and the Nifty are flat, but the Bank Nifty is up 0.3 and it is up 0.3% without HDFC Bank participating. I mean, that's in the red, and Bank Nifty. I mean, this is a very untenable position, Anuj.
Yeah, I think for me the most important parameter to watch out for normally is market breadth. It's refusing to pick up, and in fact, 1:1. Normally, you start market breadth at a positive note and then that slips off. So let's see. I mean, that would be my most important parameter. The Bank Nifty at times has given random moves, Lata. You've seen what happened with Kotak, for example, for the last 2 days. Now, today you've seen Axis Bank actually just put its hands up and is rallying. So I won't read too much into that for now. But for me, the bigger issue would be the market breadth at 10 a.m. and where that's going.
Well, Rajat, anything that has swum into your focus now?
Well, I have one buy call and one sell call. First, the buy call. HPCL looks to me pretty good because in this market, while other stocks have met their highs and sort of weakening, HPCL looks to be pretty good, close to its high. I would put a stop loss below 748.80, and chances are that it would actually revisit the 765 to 775 zone. So the targets are 765 and 772. And Sun Pharma is a sell. Sun Pharma is attracting a lot of volume on the downside. I would put a stop above 813 and put a target of 780 to about 773 on the downside. If 773 to about 770 range gets broken, then Sun Pharma could well hit 760 to about 753 kind of range. So Sun Pharma sell, HPCL buy. That's it.
Okay. Prakash, anything that you would like to recommend?
Yeah, I too will go for one long, one short. I think Oracle Finance looks okay to me. Perhaps can climb up from here, stop somewhere below the levels of 3460 or so. On the upside, the target could be 3,600 Oracle Finance. Stocks that look weak, Glenmark Pharma. I think it's got a bit tired in the upper regions. It's opened down with a gap. I would have a stop about 810 on Glenmark and trade short. Possible target could be in the vicinity of 775, 778. We don't know where it'll go, even lower, but I would have a stop about 810 and trade short.
Okay. Well, actually, today the stocks that are pulling the market higher are also the two metal stocks, Hindalco and Tata Steel. Not that they have a great weight in the index, but that's the stock that's leading the pack. Well, before I come for a fundamental view, Sudarshan, anything in these stocks that should warrant a long trade?
No, I wouldn't buy metals today.
Okay.
But the trade is coming only in mid caps. IRB, for example, is a short sell. IRB Infra. And the buying opportunities I did come in Power Grid, I told you about. And HDFC Bank may be weak, but I would, if once the weakness stops, I would still be a buyer in that.
Actually, what is the trade in Bank Nifty, Sudarshan? That one is just up and away, now up 0.5%. Is this some kind of an ambush by the bears?
No, I don't know. I don't think about it this way. I think it's an avoid because we were looking for weakness to sell at the Bank Nifty. There is no weakness, so it's best left alone. The long trade still comes only in the Nifty. If it crosses 76.35, which was yesterday afternoon's high, I would be willing to buy with the 40-point stop loss.
Well, it's not going there in a hurry, but Anuj, at this point in time, the advanced declines are actually in favor of the advancing stocks. Yeah. But by a very thin margin. It's actually teetering between the red and the green, the advanced decline ratio. Yeah, not convincing.
Yeah, today's intraday call is, it's almost similar to, like going to a casino and taking a call either way. I mean, it could go either way, and you could, then have your arguments that, look, this is what happened, so that's why the market went up, or this is what happened, that's why the market went down. Expiry week, maybe the best would be to wait for a trend to emerge and then take a call.
On Dish TV, which is rallying close to about 2.5%, JP Morgan says that Dish TV stock is derated on account of the moderation in net adds in Q3, and that, according to them, has provided an attractive entry point in an otherwise positive and growing free cash business. Q3, the net add was a hiccup, and Q4 will see a much improved number. So some positive noises coming in from JP Morgan on Dish TV, saying the recent correction provides an attractive entry point.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your advice. But do stay on. Maybe, Rima, you want to recap
Yes, let's recap and let's start with Sudarshan Sukhani's recommendations. The first one is a buy call on GAIL, target price 367, stop loss 352. He recommends a buy call on HDFC Bank with the target price of 1070, stop loss at 1040. The next one is a buy on NTPC, target price 133, stop loss 127. Also a buy call on Century Textiles with the target price of 539, stop loss at 518. The next one is a sell on REC, target price 161, stop loss 167. Lastly, a sell call coming through on Cipla with a target price of 512 and a stop loss at 530.
All right, let's also recap for you Rajat Bose's picks for the day. He has a sell call on Axis Bank with a target of 405 rupees and a stop loss at 433. Also has a sell on Bharat Forge with a target of 823. Stop loss is at 886. In fact, he has all sells. Sell on Britannia, target is 2375, stop loss 2676. And then a sell on Infosys, the target is 1167, stop loss 1227. Finally, he has a sell on Motherson Sumi. There the target is 227 rupees and a stop loss at 251 rupees. So that's a fairly bearish Rajat Bose. The market at this point in time could go either ways. It's dilly-dallying between the red and the green, but at this point it's just about 0.1% in the green. It's the bank Nifty that's a complete surprise, 0.7 higher.
Okay, let's find out about a few stocks. We highlighted how CMI Limited is straight away opened in a lower circuit of about 20%. Cupid has slipped